Good afternoon and welcome to another segment of the story behind the songs. I'm Pastor Debbie Upton from Center and Swatch United Methodist Churches in Colorado. I am so happy that you're joining me today as we look at another African American important song that's not a spiritual, but it was written by James Weldon Johnson, Lift Every Voice and Sing. It is 519 in our United Methodist hymnal. Lift every voice and sing, till earth and heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise, high as the listening skies. Let it resound as the rolling sea. Few hymns have had the capacity to the identity of an entire group. But Lift Every Voice began as a hastily written composition for an unassuming school assembly in 1900. But it has become the African American national anthem. James Weldon Johnson, born in 1871, died in 1938, received degrees in literature from Atlanta University in 1894 with a Master of Arts in 1904. He had a versatile career as a writer, a teacher, a diplomat, a lawyer, becoming the first African American to pass the bar in the state of Florida. His diplomatic post took him to 1906 to Puerto Cabello in Venezuela, and in 1909 to Cortina in Nicaragua, where he served as American consul. His most prominent leadership role was the executive secretary of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, the NAACP, a position that he assumed in 1920. His most important published works include the autobiography of an ex-colored man in 1920, the Book of American Negro Poetry in 1922, God's Trombones in 1927, and Along This Way in 1933. Johnson had been asked to speak by the principal of a school in Jacksonville, Florida, his hometown, for an observation celebrating the birth of Abraham Lincoln. Rather than make a speech, he decided to write a poem. As time grew near, his plans changed from a poem into a song. James turned to his brother, J. Rosman Johnson, to compose the music for the text. Even though the Johnsons' New York publisher did not actively promote the song, children throughout the South kept it alive. The song gathered momentum as it became known around the country. Though the brothers wrote over 200 songs together, mostly for stage, Lift Every Voice has had an exceptional place in their musical collaborations, James noted in 1935. The lines of this repay an elation, almost exquisite anguish whenever I hear them sung by Negro children. Gene Logan, a member of the Ebenezer United Methodist Church in Jacksonville, Florida, connected the Johnson brothers with the Methodist Church. James and his brother Rosman became members of Zion Episcopal Methodist Church, where their mother served as choir director and the young men served as musicians. The church was renamed Ebenezer United Methodist Church, which is now located at 9114 North Fork Boulevard in Jacksonville, Florida. According to the columnist Sharon Kuhn in Florida, their mother was the first Black female public school teacher in Florida. She taught at Old Stanton School on Ashley Street in Jacksonville, Florida. His mother taught both James and Jay Rosman reading and music. After receiving his degrees from Atlanta University, James returned to the school where his mother taught as principal in 1894. The brothers' connections to the Methodist Church and their rearing by a nurturing and courageous mother surely contributed to their accomplishments. The NAACP adopted Lift Every Voice as the theme song Julian Bond, former NAACP chairman, stated that the song holds deep meaning for civil rights movement. When people stand and sing it, you feel the connectionness of the song with all the people who have sung it numerous occasions, happy and sad over 100 years before. This hymn, often called the Negro National Anthem or the Black National Anthem, gave hope to many during the civil rights era. Its centrality in the African American life may be illustrated by a childhood memory of Vernella Randall, a law professor in the University of Dayton who grew up in Texas. She recalls starting each day in her school in the 1950s and 60s with the Lord's Prayer, the National Anthem, and the Negro National Anthem. Wendell Wallum is the latest choir director at Atlanta's Morehouse College, often spoke of the progression of the three stanzas as a praise, a lament, and a prayer. The opening stanza is a resounding hymn of praise, with rich metaphors like harmonies of liberty and rejoicing as a rolling sea. The second stanza is a lament as it recounts how hard liberty is gained. And then the sting of the words of Psalm 130, out of the depths I have cried unto thee, yet the poet does not leave us there. The ending stanza we are singing with hope. The final stanza is referred to as a prayer in the African American community. Keep us forever in the path, we pray. May we forever stand true to our God and true to our native land. This is a hymn Is this a hymn just for African Americans, or is it for all people? I believe it is a hymn for all people. The information, again, comes from Dr. Michael Hahn, he's the professor of church music at Perkins School of Theology. As we sing this hymn, the majesticness, let us remember that God is God of all people. Lift every voice and sing till heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise, noiseless listening skies. Let it resound as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith of the darkest taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of a new day begun, let us march on till victory is won. That one's a little hard to play and sing at the same time. I thank you again for joining me, and I pray that Lift Every Voice and Sing will inspire you this week to lift your voice and sing to the one and only true God who reigns forever and ever, our Creator.